All right, and we are back once more. Let's go straight into funworld. I hope the video issues we had last time are going to be fixed. I just turned everything off. Last time I had browser running. I guess that could have made things a little bit worse. But we'll see. I mean, worst case scenario, it's not the end of the world because I'm just playing around anyways, right? Like, it's not. If you're here for the gaming, you're probably a bit misguided. Gaming's not that good. Gonna be honest about that. If you're here for the other content, it's also misguided. Not that good. Better subscribe to someone else. No, I'm just kidding. It's great. I love it. Where are we? Damn, got a lot of sandstone. Can't say I don't have a lot of sandstone. What I don't have much of is wood and things like that. Completely forgot. Oh, I guess here, take that one. Actually, yeah. Let's get rid of that one. Okay. Now I'm gonna chop some wood. Sucks, only 2 of them worked in the end. I mean, I'm really confused why only some of them worked. The last time it was more, right? It's so long ago now, I don't remember, but still though. Let's see. Nice music. I enjoy it. Well, okay. We've dilly-dallied long enough, haven't we? So much dillying, so much dallying. Oh no. The shrine to the dead rabbit, reminding me of all my failures. Or at least some of them. And I get rid of crapola. Wood, that's very important. Oh, I do have actually a lot of wood. I didn't even notice that. A couple of deep slate. It's funny, you know, I was saying no more dilly-dallying, and then the first thing I did was more dilly-dallying. I guess that is how it goes sometimes. Just the way the cookie crumbles. Oak sapling, wheat seeds, wheat. Boy, oh boy, I have a lot of that. I'm pretty well decked out, really, in terms of Minecraft. Seems good. Yeah. Okay, so what they have changed the music, right? Like this, everything's like more upbeat, more. I feel like it was a lot more contemplative music, which I liked a lot. I mean, I like this too. It's like, you know, it's uplifting, it's good, but it's different, right? I mean, I don't look at like release notes or something, but feels like something changed. I mean, maybe for you it's just very quiet, so I don't know if you can really hear much of it. To get into the topic for the day, it's a book I read recently. It's not the best book I read recently, because there's one I've just been in love with, and I'm going to talk about that later down the line. But this one is Osamu Dazai's No Longer Human, very famous work of fiction in Japan, very well regarded. And I thought I'd read it. I actually did ear read it, as I call it. That's what I call audio, listening to it by audiobook, as opposed to, you know, eye reading, which is what you might call reading as an uncultured person. So I probably shouldn't insult my viewers, right? Like that's frowned upon. I don't know. You're not uncultured. I love you. You're great. See, like you go past coal and you're like, okay, I gotta mine that. Even though, I mean, I do have enough coal, really. Okay, either way. So it is a really well-regarded book, and it's not very long. It's beautiful written, actually. Like I don't know who the translation did, but I got it on Audible, so it was well read and it was beautifully translated. And well, what is it about really? It's kind of interesting. So it's like these memoirs by this guys in like the pre-World War II Japan set in there. Osamu Dazai died shortly after World War II, I believe, but um yeah, anyway, so it's about this guy who, from his youth on, says he really didn't fit in with humankind. So in English, it's translated as no longer human, but you could, I guess it has a different quality in Japanese. It's more like, he's disqualified from humanhood. So because if you say like, oh, I'm not a human, you're like, oh, are you a demon? Are you the red dragon? That kind of thing. But for him, it's more like he's not fully human, I guess. So he's not. I mean, he just doesn't fit in. He can't. He doesn't have the same reactions he thinks normal humans have, and he thinks he has to play a part, put on a mask, so to speak, or what he calls clowning, as well. Which, I guess the clowning is a specific part of it, of like playing the fool and making people like him through this kind of foolery. And so it is about his life, like starting in the north of Japan, as the son of a pretty wealthy man who's also a politician. It's in some ways, I think it's autobiographical, because there are definitely a lot of things that line up with Osamu Dazai's real life. For example, this upbringing. I think his father was apparently also a rich person in the north of Japan, a politician, even in the Japanese diet. And so we hear how the narrator, whose name I probably should have noted down. What is it? It escapes me at this point. But Wikipedia is free. Not for me, I pay for Wikipedia, and you should too if you're able to, but generally it is free. So the narrator talks about how he was like mostly raised by his female relatives. And this is one of the things about this book. There is definitely a lot of, I would say, misogyny in it. The question is like, obviously the writer sees himself as like the disqualified person and this like somewhat dislikable figure in a lot of ways. So you could obviously say, well, I mean, that doesn't mean that is the view of the book, the view of women of the book. But then again, like there's some biographical aspects, and like you do kind of feel like there's like some sort of view of women, which definitely is not in line with how I view women, which is just as people, really. Ooh, okay, that's scary as fuck. Thanks. Zombies nearby, I guess. Like interesting stone too. The video seems to work. But yeah, so he's kind of, well, the main character talks about how he's always had like a very easy time with attracting women, and how they're like, I mean, I guess like in so many words, he just thinks of them as more simple and like kind of weird and stuff. And that is kind of unpleasant. I think some of my friends do not want to read it because of that aspect, which I think is pretty understandable. There's lots of other things you can read. Either way, so he kind of grows up. Oh, yes, nice diamond. Who's a good miner now? It's me. I'm an excellent miner. Okay. And he has to put on the show, and he gets terrified whenever people are able to like peek behind what he puts on as a mask, which happens a few times in the book. And one of the first times is in school, where he was like what he calls clowning in PE, in physical education class, and someone was like, you did that. You just failed that on purpose to make everyone laugh, you know, kind of thing. And he was just, they can see me. They can see all my depravity and things like that, you know, basically. And iron, also nice. And then like it's interesting, like because he kind of like does become friends with this person who is, I guess, like pretty ostracized in the class. But he doesn't see him as friend, obviously. Also because he's still terrified from that person being able to see him. Oh shite. Oh shite. Okay, okay, this is very problematic. Is this just one? Oh no, it's two. Okay, I'm kind of fucked, right? Yeah. Unless they can find each other, that would be nice. You guys could figure that out. Okay. Okay. Oh no. Oh, there's another one. Okay. All right. So where did I fall down? Oh man, I forgot talking completely. I was no longer talking. You get like no longer human. That's terrible. Terrible. What was I thinking? Okay, let's see where I was. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, alright, got him. Okay, whew. What do we do? What do we do now? Such a massive cave. We're not very far through that book, so to be honest. Well, I like double time it, I guess. Let me see. Treated lessons. Okay, yeah. So I just give you like a short summary of the rest of what's kind of like happening. So more spoilers ahead. It is a 70-year-old book though, so Um, so he moves to Tokyo and becomes like a university student. He's like a bit of a slacker though. First he moves in with his dad while he's still in the Diet, which is the parliament in Tokyo, in Japan, but it's in Tokyo, and so then his life was relatively easy. But when he leaves, like he has massive money problems. His father doesn't really support him to the degree he needs to his expenses, and so that kind of terrifies him. He also he falls in with some university communists. I didn't get a water again. This can be a recurring part of the stream. Me getting water, which is what I'm gonna do now. Yeah, so he gets like, oh, I'm back, and oh yeah, all right, the ghost is also back, mostly. Although my mouth is constantly open now. Oh, things happen. What can you do? So yeah, he gets like a friend from school, and they like become or are like communists in a sense, except that like they aren't really, like neither of them believe in it. They just like it's something they do for different performative reasons. What else? All right. One thing, and I mean, it's you might need a trigger warning for like the well, how do you even trigger warn? That's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of difficult. I'm not very good at that. But anyways, there's bad stuff happening. I'm going to say now what it is. So one is multiple suicide attempts. And obviously, Osamu Dazai himself did have multiple suicide attempts and did kill himself, and in a double suicide shortly after the war, like I don't know, like 48, 49, I don't remember. But yeah, so he gets involved in like a double suicide and pact, and the woman dies. They try to drown themselves, I think somewhere in the south of Tokyo, maybe even like near Enoshima. I don't remember 100%. This might be a lie. Oh, I don't have a pickaxe. I guess I'll just go back. So the woman, she dies and he survives, and he like he's a real piece of work, that guy. But like he can't even remember her name in his memoirs. But then like he also oscillates between she's the only one I really loved or something like that. Yeah. Either way, so he kind of gets disowned by his family. I'm like simplifying the plot, but that's sort of what happens. And he moves in with another woman and like kind of becomes a moocher to her until he leaves her and goes to like, another. Was it another woman, or was it like getting undisowned for a while? I don't know. Like there's a bunch of stuff happening. It's not that relevant to the overall meaning, I would say. I'm lost. And he at some point he marries a woman, and man, there's a lot of bad stuff happening in there. But either way, so I guess one aspect of it is there's like this question of how reliable is this narrator. The book ends in with someone who knows him saying he was like a great guy, an angel, really. You know, except for like he drank too much or something like that. And you kind of like, so this is a woman who knew him. She was like a barmaid, and you kind of like, is he right that like he's super like women just overlook his flaws? Is he so good at his clowning, as he calls it, that like people just buy it? Or I mean, is he maybe wrong in his self-assessment? Or you know, that kind of like is an interesting thing that I was thinking when I read that. What else? Well, let me see. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It was a really interesting read to me. I'm not great at like, you know, literature reviews or like kind of really putting together my thoughts on something like this. But if you do have the time and it sounds in a way interesting, you should probably check it out. You can make your own determinations. And there's just one more thing. So yeah, like his daughter actually also became a pretty well-regarded novelist. And I just started reading a book by her. It's called, oh my god, I'm so bad with books. Let me see. Do I have it somewhere? Do I have it somewhere here? Then I can read out the title. That would, no, it's all come to naught. I don't have it here. What is it called? Something light. But yeah, it's very good so far. It's very different to my father's work. I mean, he was like 1 year. She was like 1 year old when he died. But yeah, I'm glad I picked that up. I'm probably going to talk about this in the future, and maybe as I talk about things, I might get better at doing it, which would be great. So, well, yeah, that's it for today, I think. And I will see you guys in the next one. And stay spooky.